Paleontology is the study of fossils. These are ancient remains of early forms of life, animals that lived in the prehistoric times. And why do we study paleontology? Because we want to understand how, even us as a species, we've come into being. We want to understand how the animals that we see in our national parks, even in our homes, how they came into being.
The Nairobi National Museum is the flagship brand of the National Museums of Kenya.
The National Museums of Kenya is the custodian of Kenya's natural and cultural heritage. We take care of Kenya's heritage on behalf of the Kenyan people, the Kenyan government, but also on behalf of humanity. This is because this heritage belongs to all of us. It belongs to humanity, regardless of where you come from. So as a country, as a nation, we have a responsibility to conserve and to take care of that heritage. There are over 360 gazetted sites and monuments across the country. So as the National Museums of Kenya, we oversee the running of those museums across the country. This particular museum is the biggest museum of about 25 museums across the country. And in this museum, there are exhibitions that cover different aspects of our heritage, both cultural and also natural.
Located on Museum Hill, the museum showcases Kenya's rich heritage with 4 distinct themes representing Kenya's culture, nature, history, and contemporary art.
The National Museums of Kenya is anchored on 3 pillars: culture, nature, and history. Our exhibitions are cut across the 3 pillars of culture, nature, and history. And here we have different galleries which cut across the 3 pillars. We have the Hall of Kenya, where I'm standing right now. We have the Hall of Mammals. We have the Cradle of Mankind. We have the Cycles of Life, Historia Kenya. We have Joy Adamson's collection. We have the Hall of Fishes and the Creativity Gallery.
Kenya is extremely rich in that heritage that talks about our ancestry as a species, how we came into being as Homo sapiens sapiens. And it's upon us, the National Museums of Kenya, to document that history, to document that past, to document that record, but also to teach the Kenyans people about that heritage and the importance of taking care of that heritage as part of our national heritage, but also for its scientific importance. Kenya has been christened the cradle of mankind, largely because of that rich heritage that documents our ancestry as a species, biological evolution, but also how we have evolved culturally. The technology that we see in our times, the car that you see driving all over the place, the aeroplanes, the cameras, the mobile phones are an end product of that long journey that humanity has walked technologically. So as the National Museum of Kenya, we take care of that heritage and educate Kenyans in the world at large about that heritage.
The National Museum has 4 different attractions: art gallery, temporary exhibitions, botanical gardens, and nature trail.
All of these are just so that we can achieve what museums should do. They are a place of peace, they are a place of reflection, they are a place of discussion, so that you can interact with your heritage on several levels.
And the shopping and dining facilities.
Our main work is to research and curate our heritage. And we have done so not just inside the galleries, but outside as well. In all the museums that we have curated spaces so that you can interact differently with different spaces. Here at the Nairobi National Museum, we have beautiful gardens. And these botanical gardens are designed differently. So there's one which is a peace path. And in all honesty, it's a place of absolute serenity and tranquility. It's a place for meditation. We have this one right behind me, which is the medicinal garden. And you can learn about different uses of plants. This is what our ancestors used to use, what we have used in our communities with scientific backing.
Other attractions within the compound include the snake park and botanical gardens, as well as the state-of-the-art auditorium.
Some of these exhibitions are permanent and some are temporary. So the temporary ones keep on changing from time to time, and they address some of the contemporary issues that face the society on day-to-day basis. As you know, the museum is a place of dialogue. So we put these exhibitions that can answer some of the contemporary issues that are within our communities. For the permanent galleries, they take a bit longer, but they can change over time when need be.
Where we are now is the Historia Kenya gallery that looks at key historical developments of the country in 3 time periods. We have the what we refer to here as Kenya before Kenya, that looks at the pre-colonial Kenya. The second phase is the colonial period, and the third phase is independent Kenya period. In all these, we are looking at the different historical events, key events that have shaped the development of the country. As we very know well, before colonialism, at that time, there wasn't a country by the name Kenya, but the country was occupied by different ethnic groups by their main different names. These were the Bantus, the Cushitic groups, and the Nilotes. So what we are looking at Kenya before Kenya is the people's identity at the time. We also look at the various places where these people came from, and which we are calling the peopling of the country, and also their livelihoods and the socio-political organizations. The other theme that we are looking at during this period is a theme on various contacts that the people of the country had before the invasion by the colonialists. That was through things like trade, religion, and other forms of contacts. The second phase is a phase that looks at the colonial period. And the colonial period, we are looking at the coming of the Europeans and how they colonized the country. We look at matters of land alienation, how land was taken from their true owners, who are the Africans, and given to European settlers for exploitation through agriculture, industry. And we also look at the reactions of the Africans to this invasion. How did the Africans react to colonialism? We are also looking at the introduction of a formal education. That is, before we had education, but it was sort of informal. But now we have the introduction of formal education, the early schools, the beginning of Christianity, and also we are looking at the establishment of hospitals. And therefore, we are looking at various organs that the Africans employed so that they would acquire their independence and also their identity, because it is like during the colonial period, their identity had been stolen. And then we have the third phase that looks at how the government, the independent Kenya government, celebrated the independence, and what organs were put in place for self-governance.
We keep renewing these exhibitions because we understand and we appreciate the fact that we are living in the 21st century when we need to keep changing things.
Both temporary and permanent exhibitions.
So in this gallery are about how animals move around using either their limbs in front or in the back, or a combination of both. And occasionally occasionally those that have tails use the same. We are also showing how mammals have evolved in terms of what they eat and how that has changed their dental formula. In the background, you'll see some mammals that use their teeth strongly to feed on flesh, while others use it strongly to feed on vegetation. And others will use it to combine both vegetation plants, for instance, vegetables, as well as flesh. We have covered also how these mammals defend themselves, because evolution looks at processes that help the animal to survive. So we have presented a variety of different weaponry, as well as those that use chemicals. The skunks, for instance, use the chemicals they produce from their internal organs to spray onto a targeted enemy.
Here we are the bird gallery, and the gallery is where we showcase Kenya's Avifauna diversity. In fact, in the world, we are ranked about number 13, and in Africa, we're number 2. In this gallery, we have tried as much as possible to showcase all the birds diversity that occur in Kenya, and some are even from East Africa. In Kenya, we have 1,100 species. We don't have all of them showcased here, but we have done our best to showcase most of them. There is a reason why Kenya is blessed with so much diversity of birds. One is because we have a diversity of habitats, from the coastline to the highlands around Mount Kenya, to some unique forests around Kakamega Forest, to the deserts in the north, and to the high mountains. All that climate range leads to a very, very high diversity of birds. We have set them by how they are classified, like birds of prey, big ones that are sometimes scary to people who think they're scary. These ones are large enough to kill huge animals, up to sometimes gazelles and stuff like that. And we have tiny sunbirds that feed on pollen and nectar in sunflowers. And we also have some tiny brown ones, cisticoras. Very noisy. If you have ever been to a grassland, you'll hear small birds chattering all over all the time. In the gallery, we also showcased some birds that are very unique. We have 10 endemic species in Kenya. Endemic, by endemic, I mean the birds are found nowhere else in Kenya. And we showcase some of them here. Some of them we don't have samples, but we showcase most of them. We have millions of birds passing through Kenya from Russia, even from China, from Europe. They pass through Kenya to winter to escape the cold season in Europe, and they pass through Kenya to winter in South Africa, and then they head back. They do this every year, from August to around January and February. They are going down.
Visitors are treated to a variety of shopping and dining facilities, as well as botanical gardens that offer a serene environment.
The beauty about National Museums of Kenya is how affordable our rates are. This is so that as many mwananchi, as many of Kenyans can be able to afford access to the National Museum and the facilities we offer.
Within the grounds are also the Nairobi Snake Park, the Botanic Garden and the Nature Trail.
To curate some of the spaces with our natural heritage, over and above the gardens, we have a snake park. And not just in Nairobi, we have one in Kisumu, and I believe we have a bit of it in Kitale as well. We have some snakes at Gedi Ruins as well. Now the reason is just to educate all of us that nature is paramount contributor to our well-being, and we shouldn't be in conflict with nature. We shouldn't be in conflict with the reptiles simply because we are afraid of them. They are more afraid of us than we are of them.
The artworks and materials used in the fabrication of outdoor sculptures, the landscaping and the botanic gardens link to the 4 pillars of Kenya's national heritage.
We collect animals from the field and make them final products that you can see, like the elephant in the background, whether it's a skeleton or it's complete with the skin. The process is called taxidermy, and we will show you how this takes place here at the National Museums of Kenya. It's a unique workshop because this is the only place where we combine both science, engineering, and arts in one single room to give you a final product that represents and looks like a living animal.
In addition to offering visitors Kenya's rich heritage, the museum is also well known as a unique events venue.
We also have spaces you can book for an event or two, and there are different type of design spaces. There's one which is an amphitheater, so if you have a small lecture or a performance as an artist, you can come and use it. We have had poets who really like that space. We have two amphitheaters actually. One is in the nature trail and the other one is a more curated, cemented space. And then we have a courtyard which can be used for bigger events. We also have an auditorium, very nice space. If you have meetings, that can be used for drama theatre as well.
We are launching the night tours at the Nairobi Museum. We realize a lot of people have no time coming to the museum during daytime, and we feel that we need to create time for them. We have a big event scheduled for 2nd of April, and it's entitled A Night at the Museum. We are experiencing the dinosaurs coming to life, where we'll have a hologram show, and it's a sight and sound experience. This is a family event. It will start from 6 to 10 o'clock in the evening, and we have other activities outside the museum. Kindly book with us, register early. A ticket goes for Kenya shillings 1,500 per adult.
The National Museum continues to draw visitors from all walks of life in appreciation of Kenya's rich heritage.
It's important that you visit the museums because you have that one-on-one experience with our heritage. And since this heritage has been reserved for posterity. So when you come to the National Museum, you'll get that experience with our culture, with our heritage, with our history that is not now found elsewhere.
The museums across the country provide spaces that Kenyans can go out there and have fun. We have the wonderful exhibitions just behind us. We have the dinosaur, which is out here. You can see the dinosaur is very popular among lots of kids. And aside from the fun, we also have a very strong component of public education and engagement, whereby kids come there and they go through exhibitions, and through the exhibitions, a lot of questions get provoked in the minds of these kids.
It's also a good educational place, like for students. If you want to learn a few things about classification in your biology classes, this is the best place. If you want to learn something about things like evolution, how different birds have evolved to fit into different habitats, this is the right place to see them. If you want to learn about migration, this is also the right place to learn.
The museum's commercial wing has restaurants and shops.
We have restaurants here at the Nairobi National Museum so that you can enjoy yourselves at the museum, at the galleries, and then sit down for a refreshment, and then walk down the garden to allow the food to go through the system. So this is to make sure that everything we do, we are as wholesome an entertainment spot for you as we can be.
You will be received by a welcoming team that is ready to take you through the different galleries in the museum.
Here is the Hall of Kenya. It's a representation of Kenya. We have some of the priceless collections that have been collected from different communities in Kenya. In that talk about us, they represent us as who we are as Kenyans. Right there we have our centerpiece. It's an iconic collection of gourds that have been collected across all communities of Kenya. We realize that every community in Kenya has a gourd or a calabash. The other very iconic collection we have within our gallery is the siwa. This particular siwa is very important because there are only two types. One is made of bronze, which is at Lamu Museum, and this one, which is at Nairobi Museum, made from ivory. It has intricate designs, and it was used for royal purposes. It was not just blown by anyone. It was an important instrument because it used to call people to order during ceremonies such as weddings, circumcisions, and people, since it was so royal, they would obey the command.
The National Museum of Kenya is a perfect space for families to come hang out and also learn about the heritage of Kenya.
The National Museums of Kenya, our 25 museums across the country, our monuments, our sites have a story to tell. I want to promise you Kenyans that there are always new things in our museums. Please come visit our museums. Come learn, come have fun with your families. Partner with us in taking care of those museums, taking care of our heritage for posterity. Each and every single country world over has a history and have a heritage. And as Kenyans, we need to play a much bigger role in making sure that we conserve and protect that heritage for posterity. The National Museums of Kenya cannot do that alone. And we would like to call upon different stakeholders to join hands with us, to partner with us in taking care of our heritage, taking care of our sites, taking care of our monuments across the country, and also playing a bigger role in educating Kenyans about this unique heritage. It's a journey that none of us can walk alone.